Hello, Governor. I know normally I give you a short story at the beginning, but this was so meta. I'd rather you jump into the short recap and then my own thoughts and quotes, and then really afterwards, go back and watch the reaction video that we did on Centel's page. Our discussion in there was peak as far as this meta stuff. So, hello, Governor. This is Rakai Steed, Nuke from the Ville, and we're here to talk about Doctor Who Season 2. This is Disney, so you can say Season 15, Season 2, Episode 2, titled Lux. I'm going to call this particular media therapy deep dive Into the Light. The Doctor and Belinda Chandra end up landing in 1952 Miami, Florida. They stay to discover a mysterious cinema that 15 people went into to watch the movie. They all disappear for some reason. They end up meeting and confronting an animated god named Lux, who was wonderfully voiced by Alan Cumming. He's the host of The Traitors, and probably one of the things that he's best known was for being Nightcrawler in the early 2000s X-Men movies. Now, the Doctor and Belinda are trying to get back to May 24, 2025, but they're unable to, so they end up landing in Miami. They go across the street to a diner. The Doctor pulls out this little thing that looks kind of like a guitar. It's weird. But it's a vindicator, and he's trying to find a way back to where they're going. They go to this diner, but it's 1952, and even though it's Miami, so you're talking about Deep South, Florida, still, it's a racially segregated diner. But the waiter, the guy running the bar, he's cool, and he lets it rock. And they go to talk to a lady who's in there who's sad because her son was one of the people who was in the cinema across the street and never returned, just disappeared without a word. So the Doctor, being who he is, figures he's going to investigate. They meet the projectionist, Reginald Pye, and he's been playing movies every night because his wife was one of the people who was in the audience, and she disappeared. We find out that he played a movie, or a movie came on from Mr. Ring-a-Ding, an animated character in the 50s, and somehow mixed with the moonlight that came across when the film was projecting into the theater, it made Mr. Ring-a-Ding come to life. And he actually is the god of light from the Pantheon, who we met one of in Season 2 with the Maestro in Episode 2, matter of fact. And then another one from the Pantheon turned out to be Sutek, who we met in the penultimate and the season finale of Season 1. Now, Lux turns the cameras on the Doctor and Belinda, and they get turned into animated characters. The Doctor figures out how to go from 2D back into 3D space, and they flee to another false reality where they have to confront a racist NYPD cop. But the Doctor quickly figures out, why is there an NYPD cop and we're in Miami, Florida? You know, there's a lot of things that were off, and the Doctor figured out really quickly. Then, in one of the most meta but greatest scenes ever, they escape through a television, they go through the screen, and they end up in the living room of some Doctor Who fans. And the Doctor Who fans, I don't know, it's hard to describe this scene because it was so great. They talk to the Doctor as if he is a fictional science fiction character. They talk about their favorite episode, which overwhelmingly among the group of them was Blink. an amazing episode in season 3. Season 3, episode 10, I believe. Incredible. But they did know that their world was a false one, and once the doctor left, that they would cease to exist. Lux ended up trapping the doctor to take his regeneration energy to become real. He was Pinocchio. He wanted to be real. But the doctor figured out that the best way to trick Lux was to give him exactly what he wanted. So once Belinda and the projectionist, Mr. Pi, had figured out a way to set fire to the reels of film, it would cause Lux to lose his hold on the doctor. And in blowing up a section of the projection, the cinema house, it would cause the moonlight to come in, because that's all Lux wanted, was the light. He reveled in the light. And sometimes you can get too much of a good thing. And once he got the light, he continued to grow and get bigger and bigger until he could not be contained by this world anymore. Once his hold on the theater was gone, the people reappeared. Everything is good. The doctor does what he does, and he left. On to the next episode. One of the great things about this episode was at the very end, as the Doctor and Belinda leave in the TARDIS, Mrs. Flood comes out of nowhere, and she encourages the people standing by to watch this show. And they watch as the TARDIS leaves. And she said, this show's a limited run, and it's going to end on May 24th. The 3 Doctors fans that we saw earlier, they critique the episode, and then they celebrate because they realize that they still exist. Now, you know that I love my quotes, and I have 2. The first one is, life doesn't always give you what you want, but it gives you what you need. And the second one is from Roy T. Bennett, and he says, when things do not go your way, remember that every challenge, every adversity contains within it the seeds of opportunity and growth. I call this particular deep dive into the light because that's really what it was about. It was about Lux getting into the light. But it also gave some light, some insight to the doctor when they got turned into 2D figures, especially when they got in that world. The doctor had to realize things that by telling things that were truth about him gave depth to his character, and he became less two-dimensional and more 3D because he had depth. And part of what was missing in season 1 was that depth. We did not get a chance to really know the doctor as we had the doctors in earlier seasons. We didn't get those filler episodes to give us more insight into the doctor and how he conducted himself and what he thought and how he felt. We got the sense that we got a healed doctor, and he was far more emotionally vulnerable because he cried every episode. But because of his shooting schedule in real life, he was limited in many of the shows he was, and a lot of the brunt of season 1 lay on the shoulders of lay on the shoulders of Millie Gibson, who played our wonderful Ruby Sunday. Lux wanted the light. He wanted the spotlight of the cinemas. He wanted the spotlight of the cinema. He thrived in it. The light that emanates from the doctor, and when he regenerates, Lux thrived in that, and that was making him an actual being. I don't want to say a person, but an actual being. It gave him depth. It gave him 3D to 4D. It started to fill him out, but also started to turn him into a monster. And sometimes that's what happens when you get what you want all the time. There has to be pushback. There has to be rejection in your life, because that's the only way that you can grow, that you can stretch. You have to learn from when things go wrong, when things do not go the way that you want. Sometimes the worst thing that can happen to you is that you get everything you want. Success, yes, success can be the worst thing that can happen to you, especially if you are not built for success, if you're not ready for success. Everyone thinks that they're ready. Success shows up and you're ready to go. I've been dreaming about this. I've been thinking about this my entire life. And that's not how life works. You could have been thinking about it. You could have been dreaming about it. But did you prepare for it? A buddy of mine was telling me about a business that he used to run. And he said, and he operated his business at peak efficiency for what he had and what he knew at the time. But he met a new plug who was able to get his product onto the shelves of several prominent places where he could damn near guarantee that he would be sold out every month. But in this newfound opportunity for growth, he found out you need to be able to supply. He found out you need to be able to supply X. But when he had been supplying here at Y, he wasn't ready for this type of growth and expansion without a serious influx of capital. And not only that, he didn't have his supply chain, his whole distribution chain, like all of these things. There's a lot of logistics that come into things that people don't understand. And that's why it's not an easy proposal to open an Etsy shop, to open a shop on, Amazon or eBay or what have you, to open a brick and mortar shop, God forbid. There's a lot of things that you may be good at doing what you do. If you're a cook, you may be fantastic at that. That doesn't mean that you're great at running the business. That doesn't mean that you're great at marketing. That doesn't mean that you're great at getting contracts and getting suppliers and working with vendors. It doesn't mean that you're great at any of that. So even though you might be 100% the greatest that's ever done it at what you do, you either need a team or some other people in your sphere, in your orbit, that can help you get from point A to point B. My friend, as brilliant as he is in business at what it is that he does, he voluntarily folded his business for the time being. He may pop out again and you may see me, touting his wares or talking about his product. But that was a decision by him because he understood that in the moment where he wanted to go, he wasn't ready to go. And it wasn't that he hadn't put in the work. He had. But his knowledge of what he needed to know to get to where he was trying to get was so far from being incomplete. And he needed more time, more strategy, more connections, more money to do what he wanted to do. So he said he was going to take all that knowledge, ball it up, and put it to the side instead of continue to struggle until his product failed. And then it'll always be looked at as a failed product. No, it was a super successful product for a limited run. And when he decides to bring it back out, it'll be great. Things don't always go as you want them to go, whether that's life's roadblocks or, things that happen in your personal life. You need to be able to adapt and adapt quickly. That's one of the things about humans. We should be able to adapt to new things, whether it's possessions or situations. You can always find a new normal. But one of the things that can hurt you is having unrealistic expectations. You know, you can't expect to go straight to the NFL and you didn't play high school football, you didn't play college, but you know, since you play with the guys at the park on the weekend, they tell you, you're great, why aren't you in the NFL? Hey, I'll just call up an agent and show them my tape from playing in the dirt bowl and playing on the weekends, and listen, that NIL money should be rolling in. I should get a contract any day. It doesn't work like that. You need to be able to handle the societal pressure. You know, things may not go your way. This is a different world that people are dealing with now with social media. And can you handle that? Sometimes you cannot function because your emotional needs, not only your needs, but how you react to things may not be there. You may not be emotionally intelligent enough to handle what success or rejection has in store for you. Remember, whatever you're dealing with, the change in perception can handle quickly. If everyone's hot about you and you are the it person of the moment, and they want to employ you, they want to talk to you, that can change in a heartbeat. One misplaced comment by you or by somebody else can change everyone's feelings on something about you, and you have to learn how to roll with that. You got to be adaptable. And last thing is unforeseen circumstances. You know, many of you may have vision boards, you may have a journal that you've written in every night, you may have dreamed about something happening to you in your life, and it may not be going your way. I am a living testament of things absolutely not going the way that I envision them. But that doesn't mean I curl into a ball and quit life. Every day I'm blessed enough to wake up, I got another opportunity to try to do something right, to do it better than I did yesterday. Unforeseen circumstances can happen all the time. You a busy planet and life be lifing. It happens. What I've said in many other videos before is remember to give yourself grace. Forgive yourself first. Form a plan. Execute the plan. If it doesn't go to plan, get another plan. It's okay. This is Rakai Steed, new from the Ville. Make sure that you like, share this video as much as possible. Leave me some comments. Any unforeseen circumstances have come your way? Or have you gotten everything that you want in life? And if you didn't, what happened? Remember, everything that I do, I always try to use this. If for some reason you haven't subscribed, I understand. However, what I'm asking you to do is subscribe. Hit the little bell so that you're notified when I drop one of these. Remember that everything I do, I try to use this. But it's even more important to always use this.